One of the things I talk about all the time is that it's about white supremacy. I found this outstanding video. It's like a minute and a half long, and then let's talk.
In the South, I was raised around some of the most generationally impoverished, uneducated, superstitious, Bible thumping, the absolute epitome of white trash, okay, types of people who genuinely thought and believed. They live and die generationally believing that any type of white is better than any type of brown. They feel completely justified to walk past a brown family with their nose in the air, thinking that they are better simply because they are white. That's just what it is. They use their Bibles to defend the fact that they're homophobic, that, to perpetuate hate against any and all marginalized communities. That is the reality. These are the same people who will vote red no matter what, because there's always a boogeyman. And as long as you have people who are so profoundly prejudiced and uneducated we're talking about people who live and die in these small towns. A lot of them never leave the state. A lot of them don't go further than Gatlinburg, Tennessee, their entire lives. They live and die in these small towns in the South, where for generation upon generation, they continue to vote Republican despite having access to all of the information now, where we can easily go back and see that nothing that Republicans have been for in the last 50 years would help anyone in their communities. It wouldn't help them. But as long as there's a boogeyman, it keeps them from having to debate actual policy. And you have millions upon millions upon millions of people who, at their root, are so prejudiced, even if some of them are proud of it, some of them will never admit it, but they are. And all of this is happening, and trying to get them to see and understand they don't care, because we're talking about adults who have been convinced that not billionaires, but the person picking strawberries for $6 an hour is the root of the problems in this country, or it's white supremacy. Full stop, it's white supremacy. That's not something that just these people are raised. They live and die with these ideals.
Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him someone to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. Part of this country could not stomach a black man in the White House instead of picking their cotton. And they went back to what they know, the plantation owner. They want the outside of the White House to look like the inside. We had a bump in the road with old white Joe Biden, and there was no way in hell that part of this country was ever going to vote for a black woman. You have to understand, they would rather let the country burn to the ground, lose their farms, lose their houses, lose their SNAP benefits, lose their Medicare. They don't care. They are so racist, they don't want a non-white person in there. And the media does a piss poor job of completely avoiding this issue. This is why we're here. It's the racism, stupid. Part of this country thinks that this is a Christian nation, where we murdered 1.4 million African Americans coming over the Middle Passage. Thousands were lynched, beaten, put in vats of hot sugar, used as bait for alligators. They consider this a Christian nation. It's not a Christian nation. They consider it a white Christian nation. That's what it is. They justified that religion for the white male patriarchy. And they will maintain it at any cost. And there's part of this country that are just ignorant, three teeth, want to inbreed, live in their trailer, and just bitch and moan about their crappy life. But there's part of this country that's just never been exposed to anything else. Whether I like it or not, this is what I look like. And we all have a purpose. I was raised with a dad that said a lot of racist stuff, and I chose not to be an awful person like him. So, we have two options, my friends. With great power comes great responsibility. This is not the 92%'s problem. It is ours. Whether you like it or not, white men, it's our fight. And I don't want to hear this crap about, I can't post on Facebook because Uncle Bob might be mean. Oh, my job might say something. That is white privilege. You're either on the right side of history or the white side of history. Silence is complicity. Just like the three officers stood by and watched that white officer, U.S. citizen, murder George Floyd. Very symbolic of this country. Until you speak up, nothing is going to change. And even right now, too many white people are sitting watching Netflix. And I'm sick and tired of it. Get off your asses and speak up. Protest. Be loud. Be willing to lose some friends. You don't think I've lost friends and family? You don't think I've lost clients? They're part of the problem. They're going to vote for the racism. I don't want to be around them. But you have to make people feel uncomfortable for the racism. Until they have consequences and forces them to look inside, we're never going to fix this problem. We have never been a great country for everybody, but we can be. Until we address the original sin, which is white supremacy, which is what MAGA is. Make America white again. Until we address that, we will never progress. And until we face it head on, we're just pushing back the problem. And Vice President Harris knows this. She knows that's not why she got elected, and she can't say it, and she shouldn't. So I'm going to say it. She wasn't elected because she was a black woman. Go back to the quote with LBJ. This country will vote for the most morally bankrupt, adjudicated rapist, convicted felon president while he's literally tearing down your East Wing over the most qualified black woman. Are you going to be on the right side of history or on the white side?